Imagine inventing a literal money printing machine. Like, you build it in your garage, you paint it, you fine-tune all the little gears, and then you lease it to a massive corporation.
Right.
And it proceeds to generate over $250 million in profit almost overnight. And your reward for that,
Oh, I know where this is going.
your reward isn't a massive equity stake. It isn't creative control. Your reward is being aggressively squeezed out of your own contract, told you are entirely replaceable, and then watching helplessly as that corporation hands your machine over to a different mechanic who proceeds to just systematically strip it for parts.
It sounds like hyperbole,
Yeah.
honestly. Or maybe a cautionary tale they teach in the first week of entertainment law at USC.
Exactly.
But it is just the objective reality of how intellectual property functions in the American studio system. You lose your leverage the second the ink dries, no matter how much revenue you generate.
Welcome to Off the Record. Today, we are entirely bypassing the standard Hollywood PR machine. We have assembled a massive stack of sources today. I'm talking leaked casting calls, box office projections, historical industry trade reports, and some incredibly candid exclusive interviews.
Yeah, we're extracting the actual truth for you, the listener.
Our mission in this deep dive is to unpack the miraculous, completely unprecedented return of the Wayans brothers to the Scary Movie franchise. We are looking at the upcoming 6th installment, which is officially dropping on June 5, 2026.
It's an incredibly dense, fascinating subject to untangle. I mean, we really need to chart the timeline of a 17-year blood feud that kept the original creators away from a multi-million-dollar empire.
A literal empire.
Right. We will analyze the mechanics of bringing back a massive legacy cast 2 decades later, break down the specific comedic theory behind their confirmed modern horror parodies, and ultimately look at the highly volatile summer box office projections for this release.
Yeah, there's a lot of economic and cultural data to synthesize here. And listener, to properly synthesize this data, we are adopting the methodology of our primary sources today.
Yes, we are.
In honor of Marlon Wayans' recent, incredibly viral Club Shay Shay interview, where he notoriously poured himself a rather tall drink to calmly discuss the franchise's deeply traumatic history, we are doing the same.
It's only fitting.
We have poured ourselves a drink to toast this deep dive and honor the investigative process.
A single refined beverage, purely to stimulate the academic discourse. Cheers to you, listener. And cheers to objective analysis.
Cheers. Okay, let's dive right into the infrastructure of this deal, because Scary Movie 6 marks the official return of Marlon, Sean, and Keenan Ivory Wayans as producers and writers.
This is the first time in a very long time.
This is the first time they have had any physical or creative involvement in this property since Scary Movie 2, which was released in 2001, a 25-year gap. You just don't see creators reclaim their stolen IP a quarter of a century later without a massive paradigm shift in the industry.
You really don't.
Yeah.
And that paradigm shift is evident in the new corporate partnerships driving this film. They are now operating under Miramax, which is currently helmed by CEO Jonathan Glickman.
Right.
But they're also partnering with Paramount Pictures and producer Neil H. Moritz. Now, Moritz is a crucial variable here.
Oh, absolutely.
If you know that name, listener, you know he is the engine behind the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah, that's huge.
Bringing in a producer whose entire specialty is managing hyperscale, multi-billion-dollar legacy franchises, well, that tells us that the studio isn't looking at this as a one-off nostalgia play.
No, they're building a universe.
Exactly. They are looking at this as an architectural rebuild. The film is being directed by Michael Tittitz and co-written by Rick Alvarez alongside Craig Wayans, meaning the Wayans family has completely secured the creative steering wheel.
Which begs the obvious question, right? How did they lose the steering wheel in the first place? Why did they ever leave? And the sources do not sugarcoat this.
Not at all.
Marlon Wayans was brutally candid. He explicitly stated they got a, quote, crappy deal on the first movie, and we need to contextualize what the first Scary Movie was in the year 2000. It wasn't just a hit.
No, it was a cultural juggernaut.
It grossed $278 million worldwide on a $19 million budget. That is an astronomical return on investment.
Truly unprecedented for an R-rated comedy at the time.
Right. But despite fundamentally changing the comedy landscape and delivering a wildly profitable sequel, they were treated absolutely terribly by the executives in charge, specifically Bob and Harvey Weinstein.
This is where we have to unpack the asymmetrical leverage of Hollywood in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, please explain that.
The Weinsteins built their empire on acquiring independent talent, leveraging their distribution monopolies and locking creators into incredibly restrictive, multi-picture deals that vastly undervalue the creator's contributions.
It was essentially legal extortion.
When it came time to negotiate the third Scary Movie, the Wayans brothers had objective data proving their immense value. They had generated hundreds of millions in profit. And the Weinsteins looked at that data and offered them the exact same low-tier financial package they received when they were unproven.
It was a total power play.
It was designed to break them.
And when the Wayans fundamentally refused to bow down and take that terrible deal, the studio didn't even try to negotiate. They just took the franchise.
That's all it, really.
They took the intellectual property that the Wayans built, and they handed it over to David Zucker, the guy who directed Airplane, and his team.
Yeah.
The Wayans brothers didn't even get a phone call. They literally had to read about their own replacement in the Hollywood trade papers. Can you imagine the psychological toll of that?
It is the ultimate corporatization of art.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we're analyzing this is because it highlights a fundamental flaw in how parody operates. Parody requires a specific subjective point of view.
Right, can't be generic.
It's exactly. Marlon noted that the sequels they weren't involved in lost that distinct Wayans flavor. And he's right. The later sequels became very clinical, almost robotic in their spoofing.
Very paint by numbers.
They lacked the cultural specificity and the underlying hip-hop sensibility that made the first two films feel dangerous.
Dangerous is the perfect word for it. And Marlon uses this incredibly vivid, visceral analogy in the sources to describe the feeling of losing that creation. I'm going to paraphrase it, but he basically said it felt like you raise these kids, you pour your heart into them, and then they are legally taken away from you.
Yeah, a terrible custody battle.
And they go off and, in his words, become crackheads and prostitutes. They just completely lose their way, and you can't say anything because someone else has custody of them.
Right.
But then, decades later, they get older, they realize they're a mess, and they knock on the door and say, I want to go live with Daddy again. And now, they are finally back home to Daddy.
It is an abrasive analogy, certainly, but it's economically accurate. The IP was degraded. Scary Movie 5 in 2013 was a critical and commercial low point.
It was unwatchable.
The franchise was entirely functionally bankrupt. The only way to restore value to the IP was to return it to the original architects. But we have to address the catalyst for this return. It wasn't just corporate goodwill.
No, it was the complete systematic dismantling of the Weinstein regime.
Exactly. The downfall of that specific power structure is what cleared the path. Marlon actually referred to the Weinstein brothers' fate as God's revenge.
Wow.
He said, when God come for you, you got to trust God. You don't retaliate. Vengeance is mine. That, combined with profound encouragement from his late father, Howell Stoughton Wayans, gave them the emotional runway to step back into a property that carried so much historical trauma.
Right. And listener, because this historical context is so vital, and because we are honoring Marlon's Club Shay Shay interview, I have a structural proposal for this deep dive, a drinking game.
Oh, a methodology shift. I'm listening.
Let's take a sip from our respective beverages every time we mention the Weinsteins or the Wayans. It'll be a sociological experiment in how pervasive these two forces are in this narrative.
I mean, we are analyzing a highly complex set of cinematic and economic data. As long as it doesn't compromise our analytical rigor, I suppose a sip for every mention of the Wayans or the Weinsteins is acceptable.
Awesome.
We are professionals, after all. My cognitive synthesis won't be impacted by a minor sociological experiment.
I knew I liked you. Totally professional. Okay, well, sip. Because I just said Weinsteins and Wayans.
Technically, I said them too, so that's 2 sips. Done. Now, to bridge the gap between this corporate history and the actual production of the 2026 film, Marlon has coined a specific term.
Right, the new terminology.
He isn't calling this a reboot, and he isn't calling it a legacy sequel. He is calling it a rebouquel.
Rebouquel. I kind of love that.
And that terminology is crucial when we examine the casting strategy, because assembling the cast for this specific project requires an entirely unprecedented level of legacy wrangling.
Oh, it's a massive undertaking. You cannot have a rebouquel without the foundational pillars of the franchise. Which brings us to the core four. Anna Faris is officially returning as Cindy Campbell, and Regina Hall is returning as Brenda Meeks.
That is just, it's fantastic data.
Listener, this is arguably the biggest news of the entire production. The sources note that when asked why they were coming back after all this time, they jokingly said they were doing it for money and because they would, quote, literally die for the Wayans brothers. Sip.
Sip. And obviously, Marlon and Sean are returning as Shorty Meeks and Ray Wilkins.
Right.
Now, analyzing the pairing of Ferris and Hall is critical here.
Oh, absolutely. Let's break that down.
In the early 2000s, their comedic rhythm was an absolute anomaly. You had Ferris playing this intensely earnest, almost weaponized innocence, entirely oblivious to the absurdity around her.
Yes, exactly.
And you had Hall acting as the grounded, hyper-reactive audience surrogate who refuses to accept the tropes of the horror genre. That friction is the engine of the first two films.
Yes. Brenda Meeks is the greatest horror movie character of all time because she reacts exactly how a real person would react to a killer. She just gets mad.
She gets furious at the inconvenience.
Her comedic timing in those early movies was art. It belongs in a museum. And you know, I was actually thinking about this while I was prepping for this deep dive. You actually have a lot of Brenda's energy.
I'm sorry, I have Brenda Meeks' energy.
You do. I mean it as the highest compliment. You are brilliantly smart. You do not suffer fools. You are incredibly quick on your feet. And honestly, you're just really great to look at while you tear apart bad data.
Well, thank you. That is, wow, unexpected. I need it. I don't know if I would classify my academic methodology as Brenda Meeks' energy, but I suppose I do appreciate a good rapid-fire synthesis of nonsense. And you're very kind. I appreciate the aesthetic compliment as well. We aim to please.
You definitely do.
But seriously, getting back to the data, the roster does not stop with the core four. We are seeing a flood of legacy cast members returning.
Oh, it's a tidal wave. Dave Sheridan is back as Doofy Gilmore. John Abrahams is returning as Bobby Prince. Lachlan Monroe as Greg Philippe.
Incredible.
Cherry O'Terry is coming back as Gail Hailstorm. Chris Elliott is returning as Hanson, the caretaker with the hand. And Anthony Anderson, who didn't even show up until Scary Movie 3 and 4, is returning as Mahalik.
I have to pause here. Dave Sheridan returning as Doofy Gilmore. That is deeply, profoundly significant.
Great news, yeah.
No, you don't understand. Doofy is a structural pillar of early 2000s parody. It is an incredibly layered spoof of David Arquette's character in Scream, wrapped in the Usual Suspects parody. Doofy is the linchpin.
Okay.
The fact that Doofy is back indicates a commitment to the fundamental architecture of the original narrative. I really can't overstate how important Doofy is to the ecosystem.
I completely agree. Doofy is foundational. But they aren't just relying on the past. They are injecting massive amounts of new blood into this ecosystem. The extended Wayans Sip family is heavily involved.
Oh, right, Sip.
We have Damon Jr., Kim, Craig, and Greg all confirmed, plus an entire slate of new cast members. Heidi Gardner from SNL.
She'll be excellent.
Olivia Rose Keegan is playing a character named Sarah. Savannah Lee Nassif is playing someone named Tuesday. Cameron Scott Roberts is Jack. Sydney Park is Dee Meeks, who is presumably related to Brenda and Shorty. Plus, Ruby Snober and Benny Zielke.
This specific blend of legacy actors and entirely new, young talent raises a critical point about demographic targeting. Marlon Sip discussed this explicitly in the sources.
Sip, yes. Tell me about the targeting.
He talked about the generational gap. Think about it. Comedy has shifted dramatically since 2001. The cultural boundaries have moved, the language has evolved, the audience's baseline media literacy is exponentially higher.
Way higher.
This massive ensemble cast is a deliberate tool to bridge the 2000s nostalgic audience with Gen Z.
Exactly. You can't just have people making Scream references in 2026. You have to take Cindy and Brenda, these absolute icons of Y2K culture, and trap them in a room with Gen Z influencers and just watch the generational friction catch fire.
Precisely. You put legacy characters who survived Y2K horror tropes into modern, high-pressure, socially mediated horror situations to observe how the comedic sparks fly. It's a chemistry experiment. Now, there is one notable absence from the legacy roster. Shannon Elizabeth, who played Buffy, is missing.
Yeah, that was a bummer to read, but Marlon addressed it. He said it wasn't out of malice. There were just too many people coming back, and they simply ran out of narrative real estate.
Makes sense purely from a structural standpoint.
But he went out of his way to say he completely supports her inclusion in future installments.
Which is a harsh but necessary pragmatic reality of screenwriting. You only have so much bandwidth. According to the Irish Film Classification Office listing, the runtime is exactly 94 minutes.
Oh, tight runtime.
You cannot serve 30 characters in 94 minutes without the pacing collapsing. You have to be ruthless. But again, I just keep coming back to Dave Sheridan. Doofy is the glue. If you have Doofy, you have a movie.
You are really fixated on Doofy, aren't you?
I just appreciate structural integrity. Doofy is structural integrity.
You are structural integrity. Everything you say makes so much sense.
Thank you. I try.
But listen, To justify this massive cast, to justify this giant reunion sip for the Wayans, you need an equally massive list of modern movies to make fun of.
Sip. Yes, you absolutely do.
You can't just rely on nostalgia. You need targets. Which leads us directly into the trailer that dropped on March 2, 2026.
Yes. The March trailer. This is where the theoretical concepts we've been discussing actually manifest into tangible comedic data.
It's aggressive, man.
Very. The trailer tagline alone sets an incredibly aggressive tone. The Wayans are back to cancel the cancel culture. Sip.
Sip. Okay, and we have to talk about the jokes in this trailer because, wow, they are not holding back. Let's look at Sydney Park's character, Day Meeks.
Oh, the subway scene.
There's a scene in the trailer where Day is literally in the middle of being stabbed on a subway by a masked killer, but she pauses the struggle to violently insist that the killer use her correct pronouns, which are they, them. She's correcting the grammar of her own murder. And then there's another scene where Cindy goes to hug Brenda, and Brenda recoils and says a hug is inappropriate because she's a Republican now, so she's supposed to be racist.
Okay, wait. Stop. Halt the analysis right there. We have to do the thing.
Right, the mandate. Listener, listen to me very closely, listener. Look into my eyes through your headphones.
We have to declare our neutrality.
We have to declare our absolute ironclad neutrality right now, because the sources we are citing mention politically charged jokes, Republicans, pronouns, cancel culture.
We are a bastion of objectivity.
Yes, we do not take sides. Do you hear me, listener? We fucking love everybody. I mean that. We love everybody. Left, right, center, up, down, diagonal. We are just the messengers. We are just objectively reporting the contents of the theatrical trailer. I swear to you, I have no political opinions. I just have love in my heart for you, the listener.
I love the listener so much, it's actually overwhelming how much I value their time. We are completely objective. What the trailer's doing, and this is just science, is what parody always does. It holds up a warped funhouse mirror to the zeitgeist.
A funhouse mirror.
We are not the mirror. We are just holding the mirror that is holding the mirror. Does that make sense? We are double mirrors.
Double mirrors. I love you for saying that. That is so profound. We are the double mirrors of society. Okay, wait. What the hell was I saying?
You were discussing the confirmed parodies in the trailer. The targets.
Right. The hit list.
It is a massive shotgun approach to pop culture. They are aiming at everything. We have M3GN, where the killer doll does that weird hallway dance, but then she pulls off her silicone face to reveal ghost face underneath.
That's a great visual.
We have Ryan Coogler's upcoming movie Sinners, where vampires crash a juke joint at Brenda's house, but they just want to, quote, do some half-gay shit.
We have Jordan Peele's Get Out, where Shorty, played by Marlon Wayans, Sip, is smoking and accidentally sinks into the sunken place, but he treats it like a bad high.
Sip. And you cannot overlook Wednesday, the Netflix series. There is a character in this movie literally named Tuesday, played by Savannah Lee Nassif.
Yeah, Tuesday.
She is in the pigtails. She has the pale makeup, and her name is Tuesday. Do you understand? Because Tuesday is the day before Wednesday.
Yeah, I get it.
That is the most incredibly genius, profound joke I have ever encountered in my academic career. Tuesday. It's so aggressively stupid that it wraps all the way around to being brilliant.
Tuesday! They named her Tuesday. Oh my god, it's so dumb. It's perfect. But wait, there are so many more.
Hit me with the data.
They are spoofing Weapons, Ma, Smile, Long Legs, The Substance, Scream 6, the 2022 Scream requel, the 2018 Halloween requel, Heart, Eyes... Wait, did I say Everything, Everywhere, All at Once?
You're definitely slurring a little bit. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. No, I do not believe a multiverse family drama is in the trailer for Scary Movie 6.
My bad, my bad.
But you know what is? Terrifier 3, which is wild. The sources confirm that Felissa Rose and producer Michael Levy appear in a mall scene where Art the Clown is dressed as Santa Claus giving severed body parts to children.
Yes, hardcore.
And apparently this scene was originally cut by the studio for being too extreme and then reinstated in a trimmed-down edit.
Which is insane because Art the Clown is already practically a parody of extreme gore. How do you spoof a spoof? Oh, and Kenan Thompson is playing Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
He is taking over the role from Edward Moss, who played the Michael Jackson parody in Scary Movie 3 and 4. So here is my question to you, my beautiful, incredibly brilliant co-host.
I'm ready.
I am challenging your theories right now. How does a franchise built on early 2000s slapstick and dick jokes survive in an era of TikTok attention spans?
Okay. What is fascinating here is, hold on, let me look at my notes. The shotgun approach.
Right.
I have a theory about this. You want to challenge me? Here's the theory.
Let's hear it.
Scary movie survives and will thrive because the modern internet operates exactly like a scary movie script.
Explain that to me. I'm intrigued.
It is rapid-fire context collapse. Think about how you consume media on your phone. You scroll from a horrific global tragedy immediately to a makeup tutorial, immediately to a meme about Nicolas Cage and long legs, immediately to a political rant.
It's exhausting.
This disjointed chaos. The Wayans SIP recognize that the social media age is essentially already a spoof of reality, so they don't have to change their pacing.
You're a SIP. Oh, that's smart.
They target influencers, they target this pretentious elevated horror movement, they target requels and prequels. They are speaking the fractured language of Gen Z while utilizing the indestructible slapstick architecture of 2001. It's a breathtaking synthesis of eras.
See, this is what I'm talking about. You are a breathtaking synthesis.
I am.
You aren't just reading the data, you are seeing the matrix behind the data. And honestly, I disagree with you.
Oh, you disagree, right?
I do. I think you're giving the internet too much credit. I don't think it's context collapse. I think it's just that getting hit in the groin is universally funny, whether it's 2001 or 2026. The Wayans SIP aren't trying to decode TikTok. They just know that watching Ghostface trip over a coffee table is evergreen comedy. It's physics, not sociology.
SIP. Oh, I love that. I love that you push back on me.
You do.
You're completely wrong. Sociology dictates the physics of the humor, but I find your stubbornness incredibly charming.
You think I'm charming?
I think your analysis of grind strike physics is very compelling.
Okay, before we get completely derailed, we have to look at the gap between what fans thought this movie was going to be and what it actually is.
The speculation phase.
Right, because before that trailer dropped, the horror community was losing its mind with speculation. Which brings us to the Fangoria wish list.
SIP.
SIP. Yes, the Fangoria article. This was published before any footage was released. Fangoria put together this massive, exhaustive list of 13 modern horror movies that they desperately argued needed the spoof treatment.
It was a long list.
It serves as a fascinating psychological profile of what hardcore horror fans consider the most spoofable moments of the last decade. It's basically a roadmap of horror trauma. They demanded Pearl. Specifically, they said Anna Faris was put on this earth to spoof Teal's West's Pearl.
Oh, she would be phenomenal.
They wanted Cindy Campbell doing that deeply uncomfortable scarecrow scene and holding that agonizing, creepy, tear-filled smile for 10 minutes during the end credits.
Yes.
And they demanded Hereditary. They wanted Regina Hall doing Toni Collette's legendary I Am Your Mother dinner table speech. Can you imagine Brenda Meeks just absolutely screaming at her family over a plate of mashed potatoes?
It would be transcendent cinematic art. It really would. But they also speculated about the Babadook. Wait, I need to connect this to the bigger picture. I need to explain the mechanics of what Fangoria is doing here.
Please do.
They are targeting modern grief horror.
Grief horror.
Yes, or elevated horror. Elevated horror is brilliant. It's this movement where directors use the monster not just as a killer, but as a literal metaphor for trauma.
Oh yeah, like the deep stuff.
Exactly. The Babadook is a movie about a widow's grief. Hereditary is about the inescapable rot of inherited mental illness. Relic is about dementia.
Super uplifting.
But then you contrast those deeply serious prestige themes with the aggressively lowbrow, practical effects-driven humor of Scary Movie. Like, think of the skeleton scene in Scary Movie 2.
I love that scene.
The contrast between high art trauma and a skeleton making a crude joke is a wild comedic chasm.
Okay, wait, I need to reset the podcast. I'm attempting to reset the deep dive. We are getting off track and I am feeling very emotional. Let's look at the data.
Yes. Structure, ground us in the data.
Right. Data. Fangoria also wanted the Babadook spoofed because the Babadook is an LGBTQ plus icon.
Wait, are you crying?
I'm sorry, it's so beautiful to me. Think about it.
About the Babadook.
Yes. The Babadook is this terrifying manifestation of a widow's darkest, most isolating depression. It's literally a monster born of pure suffering. And the internet looked at this monster with his little top hat and his weird hands, and they collectively decided, you know what? He's queer. He's an icon. He belongs at Pride.
Right.
It makes me so emotional. Why am I crying over the Babadook? He deserves love. We all deserve love.
It is a beautiful sentiment. It really is. A testament to the internet's ability to reclaim darkness. But if I really think about it, elevated horror is actually pretentious bullshit.
Wait, what? Hold on. You literally just said elevated horror was brilliant 2 minutes ago. You called it prestige.
Did I? Well, I contain multitudes. Listen to me very carefully. Elevated horror takes itself so fucking seriously. It is exhausting.
You are cracking me up.
Oh, look at me. I'm a demon in a colonial farmhouse, but I'm actually representing the generational trauma of puritanical guilt. Shut up. Just be a demon. Eat a teenager and be done with it.
Oh my God, you are so angry at A24 right now.
I'm not angry. I am analytically frustrated. That is why the Wayne and Sip are so vital to the cinematic ecosystem. They puncture the pretension.
Sip. True, very true.
They take these incredibly self-serious, moody grief narratives and they say, what if the creepy embalmed spirit hand from Talk to Me was just used for unsavory, non-smoking recreational activities?
Yes.
Because Fangoria specifically predicted that the A24 Talk to Me hand would be used for incredibly bad taste gags. And they are absolutely right.
You are so incredibly smart. I mean it. I am trying not to flirt with you right now, but you are uncovering incredible insights about the fundamental dichotomy of trauma and dick jokes.
Well, it's just the data.
That is the essence of humanity. Because Fangoria also wanted 28 years later spoofed. And what did they focus on? They mentioned parkour ninjas and, quote, noticeable appendages on the infected zombies.
Noticeable appendages. Classy.
Which is so incredibly lowbrow, and your analysis is so highbrow. We are like the perfect team, the peanut butter and jelly of podcasts.
We aren't a podcast. We are an audio deep dive, remember? But yes, we are uncovering the foundational architecture of humor. We are the architects. What else was on the Fangoria list? I lost my place.
They wanted the witch, specifically with Black Phillip the Goat just being incredibly foul-mouthed.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Exactly.
Ah.
And they wanted Malignant, specifically the jail cell scene where Gabriel breaks out at the back of her skull. God, society really did move on from Malignant way too fast.
We moved on from everything too fast. The news cycle is a wood chipper.
Yeah.
But not us. We are deep diving.
Yeah.
We are currently in the Marianas Trench of Scary Movie 6 data.
Which brings us to the final, most volatile piece of the puzzle. The economics. The box office battle and the June 5th release move.
The battleground, yes. So Scary Movie officially moved its release date up an entire week. It was originally slated for June 12, 2026. Now it's hitting theaters on June 5.
Right.
And Marlon, Sip for Wayans, oh my God, Marlon went on Instagram and claimed that this shift was entirely due to the overwhelming response and massive worldwide excitement generated by the trailer. He said the fans demanded it early.
Which is standard marketing spin.
Total bullshit. I mean, I love Marlon Sip, but the industry sources tell a vastly different story. They didn't move it because of fan demand.
Sip. Of course not.
They moved it because they were terrified of the surrounding calendar. They moved to avoid Pixar's Toy Story 5, which comes out on June 19th, and Universal's Disclosure Day, which is a massive Steven Spielberg event movie dropping on June 12th.
Which, objectively, is an economically sound strategy. The volatility of live-action comedy at the theatrical box office right now is incredibly dangerous.
Just super dangerous.
It is not 2005 anymore. Action blockbusters and four-quadrant family animation dominate the multiplex. Mid-budget comedy has essentially been banished to streaming platforms.
It's all on Netflix now.
But horror still has massive theatrical growth. People want to be scared in a crowd. So Scary Movie 6 exists in this weird, highly unpredictable hybrid space. Is it a comedy that will fail theatrically or a horror event that will succeed?
But think about the absolute delicious irony of this. Please, just think about it. A franchise that is entirely built on making fun of massive, terrifying horror blockbusters is literally running away on the release calendar from an animated movie about cowboy toys.
Oh, that's hilarious. Woody and Buzz Lightyear functionally scared Ghostface into retreating to June 5th. That is hilarious.
It is profound irony, a capitalist irony. But now, we must look at what they are actually facing on June 5th. It is not an empty weekend.
No, it's packed.
They are competing directly with Masters of the Universe, which is projected to have a $25 million opening. They are up against Animal Friends, an R-rated live-action animation hybrid with Ryan Reynolds and Jason Momoa.
This sounds chaotic.
They are against Power Ballad, starring Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas. And wait, let me read this. The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act, which is projected at a $10 million domestic opening.
The Amazing Digital Circus. You understand what this is?
I confess I am not entirely familiar with the digital circus.
It is an indie web series. It's an animated YouTube show about people who get trapped inside a virtual reality game as digital avatars. And it became an absolute internet phenomenon.
Okay, I see.
And now it has a theatrical release, and it is competing directly with the Wayans brothers. Sip.
Sip.
The Wayans Sip fought the Weinsteins Sip for 17 years. They finally get their movie back, and their primary demographic competition is an indie digital circus starring a jester named Pomni.
Okay, breathe.
I can't. I am intensely, deeply, psychologically invested in the Amazing Digital Circus right now. Who is Pomni? What does she want? Why is she taking box office revenue directly out of Regina Hall's pockets?
You need to calm down about the digital circus. It's just market fragmentation. Listen to me. The demographic crossover is the key here.
Okay, tell me about the crossover.
Look at the box office theory projections. They predict Scary Movie 6 will have a $25 million to $35 million domestic opening weekend. Do you realize what that means?
It's a lot of money.
That is more than double the opening of Scary Movie 5, which only did $14 million. The demographic crossover is going to save them.
You think so?
The Black communities, the Gen Z irony-poisoned teenagers, the 2000s nostalgics who grew up on Blockbuster Video, they will all unite. They will form a massive, unstoppable Voltron of ticket sales to defeat the digital circus.
You're a Voltron of ticket sales. Do you know that?
What does that even mean?
It means you are powerful. You're a blockbuster to me. You are my fucking summer blockbuster. Every time we do this show, you bring in the highest box office numbers in my heart. This is the greatest deep dive we have ever recorded in the history of audio. I mean that.
We have solved Hollywood. We really have. We fixed the business model. Oh, wait, the budget.
What about the budget?
The sources say the budget is undisclosed, but it has to be massively higher than the previous films because of the star power. Anna Faris, Regina Hall, the Wayans.
Sip?
God, we've had so many sips. How much is left in your glass?
Nothing. It's gone. I had too many sips. But we did it. We unpacked the whole stack of sources. From the corporate theft to the Rebukel casting to the Babadook's Pride Parade to the Voltron box office. So, wait, how do we actually wrap this up? I feel like I'm floating.
A summary. We must synthesize the final findings to respect the listener. Scary Movie 6. It releases on June 5, 2026. The Wayans are back. Sip. The Weinsteins are gone. Sip. The cancel culture is canceled. And doofy is structural integrity.
It's sloppy, but it's completely accurate. I love it.
Do you have a final provocative thought for the listener? Something to just completely blow their minds before they take their headphones off?
I do. Actually, I do, listener. Listen to me very closely right now. We have spent an hour talking about parodies and reboots.
So many reboots.
If the original Scary Movie exists purely to make fun of unoriginal reboots, and it exists to make fun of lazy legacy sequels, but Scary Movie 6 is itself a legacy sequel returning after 26 years, does that mean we are trapped?
Trapped.
Are we trapped in an infinite loop of nostalgia? Think about it. Are the parodies now parodying the parodies of themselves? If art imitates life and parody imitates art, what is imitating the parody? Are we the audience watching the movie, or are we the scary movie?
We're the scary movie. That is the most mind-blowing philosophical concept in human history. You are a literal genius. You just broke the fourth wall of reality. I am exhausted. My brain is vibrating. But I am being completely emotionally honest right now. I loved doing this deep dive with you, even when you yelled about the digital circus.
I loved it too. You are brilliant. Listener, keep questioning your sources, keep looking at the data, keep questioning if you are the scary movie.
We love you so much.
We'll see you next time on Off the Record. Stay safe out there. Don't let the Babadook get you unless you want him to, because he's an icon. Good night.